looking at the NFC, Green Bay clinched the division today. Shout out to anyone who bet the Packers at plus 200 or whatever it was when Aaron Rodgers was rumored to be leaving football forever, and they were still hanging numbers at sports books, because you cash that today, and that has to feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was one of those people that thought he wasn't coming back. So
I mean, that rumor, the Broncos rumor, and like end of June or beginning of July, when they took the Broncos off the board and completely changed the Packers odds, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I cashed one of those on an offshore, which was pretty exciting today, and it went through today, which is very nice. The Cowboys, with Tampa's loss, are right there in the mix to get that 1 seed. And Arizona, well, I guess with Arizona's loss to the Lions as well, just an inexplicable loss. The Cardinals are really struggling, has opened up that division big time for the Rams for sure. Maybe the 49ers. I mean, that seems kind of crazy. And they would have to beat them by a full game because they wouldn't win a tiebreak, but they're right there. And then you see New Orleans, now the 7 seed at 7-7. When you look at what's more likely, Breech or Wilson, I guess. What do we think about the Saints as the 7 seed, and where do we think? Because Tampa, they got to catch Green Bay. If Green Bay runs the table,
they're not
Tampa has easy games left. But if Green Bay runs the table, they get the number 1 seed, and that's that.
I shouldn't say they're not going to catch Green Bay, because we'll talk about Green Bay in a little bit, but they almost lost that football game. So as for the Saints at number 7, they're the 7th seed here. San Francisco 6. Outside looking in, Washington, Minnesota, Philadelphia, all at 6 and 7. Then the Falcons, who again, Arthur Smith should be coach there. That team won 6 games. They suck.
The Saints have a very, very friendly schedule.
Or Arthur Smith should be fired based on what he did today, but that's another story that we'll talk about later.
I'll just reiterate what I asked you guys a moment ago. How comfortable do you feel about Taysom Hill? Because can the defense, the defense can play well in 3 games, and then you're going to get blown out in the playoffs. And if that's sort of a moral victory, not a terrible way to end the season. But
let me ask you this. If the Saints win their final 3 games and the Cardinals hold on and are the 4 seed, am I doing this right? No, I'm doing this wrong, aren't I? 2 would play 7.
Wait, let me ask you this about the 7 seed.
I can't. I hate.
Before we,
I hate expand. I didn't expand it last year, but I hate expansion.
You don't trust Taysom Hill. Who do you trust out of Taysom Hill, Taylor Heineke, Jalen Hurts, and Kirk Cousins? Because those are the 4 teams that are pretty much fighting for that last.
Let's rank those quarterbacks. So I'll go. Just we'll rank the quarterbacks. We regardless of the team around them and the coach that hates the quarterback. So I'll go Kirby Cousins number 1. I'll go Heineke, Hurts, and Taysom. What are you laughing at?
That's probably that's like the correct ranking. But when you look at like the quarterback and the coach combined, or like the whole team around them, that changes the whole. So that's what makes it so hard to try and predict.
All right, let's do this. How about this, Breech? What if Kirby Cousins was on the Saints? How great would you feel about the Saints?
Oh, I'd take the Saints in a second.
The Saints would be better than 7-7.
They would be
Kirk Cousins on the
Saints would have just won the division.
Right. That's what I was saying. They'd be like one of the top 4 seeds more than likely.
Well, I still think Tampa would be the better team in that division, but yeah, they would probably be the 5 seed. They beat him tonight. Beat him twice, I guess. Could happen. I think the Super Bowl draft that we did, where I took the Saints last, we rehashed it on Saturday night, and I was like, oh, what a terrible pick with the Saints. All of a sudden, I feel pretty good. The Saints host the Dolphins on Monday night in Week 16. I think that's a really bad matchup, as we talked about, Breech, for the Dolphins. You like Miami in that spot. They're white hot. That's fine. I think that defense will cause problems for Tua and that Miami offense, Jalen Waddle or not. They get the Panthers at home in Week 17 on Sunday, 1 p.m. game. If the Saints play well on defense, they'll obliterate the Panthers. The Panthers are terrible. And then they're at the Falcons in Week 18, also just a 1 p.m. kick. I don't think the Saints are a good offense by any stretch of the imagination, but against bad defenses, Alvin Kamara can work, and those defenses are not elite. I think the Saints run the table and somehow finish 10-7, and we're like, whoa. And maybe Sean Payton gets some Coach of the Year love because he did this with Scotch tape and missing. I think he said COVID 2 times at least.
At least 2.
Yeah, at least 2. I like the Saints' chances of getting in as that 7 seed. I think they could even go 2-1 and still pull it off.
Yeah, I'm looking at our guy Stephen O's numbers from Sportsline, and the Tampa Bay numbers don't really change out, the whole stretch through the playoffs, whether it's division playoff, overall conference or championship. But the Saints go from 8.2 wins to 8.9 wins. Their division chances don't really change much, but their playoff chances go from 25% to 45%.
Huge jump, yeah.
And that's huge, and that's the difference.
Debo, as our resident Eagles fan, and where would you say your optimistic outlook is now that the Saints have beaten the Bucs? Clearly you got to wait and see what happens on Tuesday with the Eagles in Washington, but I mean, can't be feeling nearly as good as you probably were 12 hours ago.
Not nearly as good as I was 2 hours ago.
Sure.
I think for both Washington and Philadelphia, the fact that they have the head-to-head win over the Saints is good, but if you're talking about the Saints running the table, that means the Eagles also have to run the table to get to that tiebreaker. And I feel pretty good about Tuesday at this point, but I want to bet on the Eagles to run the table. I also think that, that Dolphins game for the Saints is going to be the one that they have to lose if you're from my perspective and rooting for a loss for the Saints.
That's probably right. And look, I mean, Washington and Philly play each other twice. So one of those teams
and Washington and Philly, they also both play the Cowboys.
Correct. And the Cowboys are now, importantly, in a fight for the number 1 overall seed to get home field advantage. And Lord only knows what Jerry Jones would do to get that 1 seed over Green Bay.
And at this point, you want the 2 seed over the 3 seed, obviously, but you don't want to play San Fran.
That's actually a great point that I hadn't gotten to because I was too busy pretending that 4 and 7 played for some stupid reason. If you're the 2 seed, like the 1 seed is obviously a massive advantage because you get the bye and you get home field advantage throughout. But if you're the 2 seed, you get home field except for the title game against the 1 seed. And as Debo just noted, you're going to get the absolute dregs of the NFC that pops in there. Now, maybe you're a little nervous about a good New Orleans defense. Maybe you're a little nervous about Russell Wilson if he finds his way into that. But by and large,
let me ask you this. Tampa Bay doesn't want to be the 3 seed because they have to face New Orleans as we sit here. But if you're the Cowboys, would you rather face number 1, the Saints, Washington, Minnesota, or Philly? If that's 2 versus 7,
I wouldn't want to face a divisional rival because they're just like too random, and that's right. I mean, we just saw it tonight.
I would not want to play the Saints though.
If I'm the Cowboys, I think I'd want to play the Saints.
Well, and the Minnesota's still out there too, so they're not the drag. I mean, they're the drags in the sense that they're last in the playoff race. But so, would you rather have those choices if you're Dallas, or if you're Tampa Bay? Would you rather host San Francisco? And that's 3 versus 6.
I mean.
Well, I don't want San Francisco if I'm.
That's my point. Like they're not going to be. These aren't layups.
No.
The favorites should win, but they could be, -1.5 sort of games.
Anyone on either side of the bracket, with maybe the exception of whoever the 7 seed is in the NFC, can win the Super Bowl this year. Like this is a wide open race.
That's what it feels like, and I think the one team that helped themselves the most today was the 49ers. Because just having that 1 game buffer over the 7th seed, they still play the Texans, 49ers do. And if they win that game, they're essentially in because all these guys are going to, as we said, Washington and Philly play each other twice. If they split that, now both those teams are at 8 losses. Minnesota has some tough games left. So it does feel like it is just absolutely cut off. And you don't want to play the 49ers. So where does that leave us?
If I'm Dallas, if I'm the 2 seed and if I'm ranking my options, I think it's 1 Washington, I guess 2 New Orleans because Dallas's defense is playing well, but Dallas's offense has been so bad and New Orleans defense is playing great right now. Then I think,
what if Tampa Bay went into week 18, knowing that if they win and the Saints clinch the 7th seed, and the Buccaneers knew if they win, they have to play the Saints in the playoffs. You think they'd want to avoid them, or do they think, we beat them in the playoffs last year. The regular season means nothing.
Well, knowing Bruce Arians, he's not going to be playing to lose. Like, and he has.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see
He's sort of a stick your chest out. Like we'll do it no matter what.
You also can't tank on purpose to avoid the Saints and accidentally play the Saints because you're losing that game.
And also, Jason Locke said this weeks ago that Antonio Brown ain't going anywhere. Antonio Brown ain't going anywhere. They have 1.5 wide receivers.
Well, Michelle Savoy said that during the game tonight.
They desperately. Well, my point is that JLC, who we work with for CBS, said this weeks ago.
No. But I'm saying she talked to people with the Bucs who said AB's on the team.
As Jason said 3 weeks ago. That's
I know. I'm saying that what Jason said is fact. I'm saying that. I mean, she wasn't reporting it. She talked to somebody with the Bucs who's like, AB's good to go. So yeah, great job by JLC as always.
So if we had to make a pick right now, who is getting the 7th seed in the NFC?
I'll take the Saints.
What?
I just told you they have an easy schedule coming in.
I'll defer to Debo because I want to hear him talk himself into Philly, and I'll see if I ride along on that.
I'm riding with it. Dolphins beat the Saints next Monday night. Eagles only have to win 3 of 4. They get in.
Who are the 4 games they have to play? They're pretty tough.
All
right?
division. 2 Washington, 1 Giants, 1 Dallas.
I
know. Washington just feels like it just split.
I think
aren't Giants fans rooting for something with the Cowboys and the Eagles in week?
They're rooting for Asteroid.
Nate Sudfeld.
No way. Giants fans are in a pleasant mood. They got free medium drinks at the game. They're not.
Giants dunk.
Yeah, I think if I would probably say Tampa finishes number 2 because they got 2 games against the Panthers and 1 against the Jets. I mean, that's about as good as you can get.
Dallas has some.
I think the Rams are going to steal the NFC West.
It won't be a
starting to
steal
feel like that.
I feel like they're going to walk in the front door and slap the Cardinals in the face. And
Hey, Cliff!
Arizona still has to play the Cowboys, Colts, and Seahawks. I mean, there's a path where they go 0-3 in those games. It's not completely far-fetched.
They'll be on the road. That was good until Sunday's action.
I'm trying to think what.
Imagine going 7-0 on the road and your first loss is in Detroit.
The Cardinals finishing in 3rd in the NFC West would probably be the most hilarious thing possible.
Well, now I'm wondering. Wait, did the Cardinals? My short-term memory is obviously crap. Did the Cardinals? Did they play the Saints? Have the Cardinals played the Saints?
Oh, I don't know who played who this year.
No, the Cardinals have not played the Saints and do not play the Saints.
Well, I'm just wondering if the Cardinals were to lose out. I'm going to slap this into the playoff machine, and the Saints were to win out. I do believe the Saints would jump the Cardinals, and I didn't run every game here. I just slapped this into the old simulator. And if the 49ers were to win out, and they have the Titans, Jets, and Texans remaining, I believe. No, sorry, Titans. I clicked the wrong team.
Well, the Cardinals have not clinched a playoff spot, so there is a path for them to miss the play.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Even if
what you're doing, if the Saints win out and the Cardinals lose out and they both tie at 10-7, the Saints get in because they have a better NFC record.
Yes, there's a pathway for the Cardinals to finish as a 7 seed as well, which would be absolutely wild. If you're thinking the whole time you're going to get like New Orleans, and so that's the kind of the intrigue of it too. If for some reason the Cardinals go 0-2 and the Saints and 49ers go 2-0. Suddenly you're not like going to tank to play the crappy 7 seed. It might be the Cardinals, or maybe you want the Cardinals. It's not.